Okay, so we are.
Hey, guys, reel it in.
Sorry. Sorry, I've been writing honors geometry on a lot of recommendation forms, so it's just in my head. I apologize. So, how do I get it? From Klassen. From Klassen, I get an email. From Harding or what is it? Crossings is the other one. Either Miss Waddell gives me a sheet or you guys bring me a sheet.
What about Mount St. Mary?
Never heard of it. Okay. I would love to discuss that stuff with you later, but we need to talk about this. So, last class, we reviewed slope. Okay. So today, this lesson is the reason we reviewed slope. We will be working on slope of parallel lines and slope of perpendicular lines. I usually make somebody take me out to dinner, Johan, before I let him touch me like that. So maybe you can tell him to scoot over. Okay. Just keep your hands to yourself. Okay. Okay. Parallel lines. Okay, if two lines are parallel with each other, do they have the same slope or different slope? They have the same slope. Okay, we see the symbol as two vertical lines. Okay, representing parallel. You've seen that already. Perpendicular lines. Have what is referred to as a negative. I have also heard it referred to as opposite, so I'll just write that in parentheses. Okay, a negative or opposite reciprocal. Okay, symbol is a vertical line with a horizontal line on the bottom, kind of like an upside down capital T. Yes, Spencer. That is not an accent mark. That is my handwriting. Yes. Quiet, please. Whoa! Who gave you permission? Be quiet. Rocco. A reciprocal is something I'm going to explain to you. Okay? So, what we're talking about, okay, with negative reciprocals is a very easy little flip for you guys, okay? Negative or opposite means you're changing the sign. So if it was a positive, you're changing it to negative. Okay, if it was a negative, you're changing it to positive. Okay, so that's why I prefer to say opposite reciprocal. What verbiage the state of Oklahoma is going to use, I am unclear. Okay, just as I was unclear in Texas. But opposite reciprocal, okay, I think kind of helps you figure out that it needs to be different from the sign you had. Okay, negative reciprocal sometimes leads students to think it just always needs to be negative, so it doesn't matter if it was negative before. Franklin.
In multiple years when we are finally taking the state math test and it's at the geometry level, I will come back and tell you which usage they use.
Please do. Yes. I will be sitting right here until you come and tell me. Okay.
Well, I will not, since the high school I'm going to doesn't take the test.
So, can we talk about this later? Okay. Change the sign. Okay, so that again, that's referring to the negative or the opposite part of this negative reciprocal, and flip the fraction. Okay, flipping the fraction is giving you the reciprocal. Okay, so if we look at number one right here, okay, first to change the sign, this is a positive 3/4. So we know the reciprocal of that is going to, or the negative of that is going to have a negative sign. And then after we change the sign, we are going to flip the fraction. So instead of it being 3 over 4, just going to be 4 over 3. Okay? So for number 2, okay? If we look at number 2, obviously when we said reciprocal, we wrote flip the fraction. 2 is not a fraction. Hopefully we can all recognize that. So how do you change a whole number into a fraction? Okay. Yes, you are going to put any whole number over 1. Okay. That is going to make that a fraction. Okay. Now, you don't have to mark that. You just need to know that. Okay. You need to know that any whole number, if you're trying to flip it, that means you're really looking at it like it's 2 over 1, and you're going to flip it to 1 over 2. And because it was a positive, it needs to be a negative. Okay? These are going to make your lines cross each other with an intersection that equals 90 degrees in every quadrant. Okay? They are going to be perpendicular. Okay? See if you can flip and change the sign of 3, 4, and 5. You'll have to use a little prior knowledge to do number 5, but I want to see if you can figure it out. -0 isn't a thing.
It is if you believe it is.
I don't believe it is, so it's not.
Oh,
Counts as a wrong answer.
I want to say that every time. I want to put all my thighs there. I want to put all my thighs, and I know when we'll touch it. Yeah. Anyone want to do it? No. This is the things I have to do in this math.
Foolproof method.
Can I go down to algebra?
Do what? There's no positive or negative version of 0. It's just 0. It doesn't have a value. Things can't have a positive or negative if they don't have a value. That's why. Soren.
Can I move down to algebra 1 so I don't have to deal with people putting bananas on my thighs?
No, it probably happens more there.
What do you mean? How would they do it?
Okay, here's number 3.
You're bad. No, it can get squished. Bananas are better.
He doesn't want to squish his banana.
Guys, stop.
Let's go. That's what I put.
I put not
Okay, if you put any version of does not exist, no solution, undefined, then you were thinking along the right lines. You just didn't use the exact word. Okay.
I put undefined. Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. So, guys. Okay. The number 4 problem. Okay, 1. Always kind of tripped up my algebra 2 students when you're kind of looking for perpendicular slopes. It's just 1 over 1, which means if you flip it, it stays the same. It's just going to change to a -1, which would make sense when we look at it on the graph. You'll see why that works. And then the graph where you have a slope of 0, you have a slope of 0 that is what sort of line?
No slope.
It is no slope, but specifically, what would that line look like on a graph? Straight line. Well, we're talking all straight lines right here. So, yes, that is technically correct. Horizontal line, yes, would be a no slope. Okay. Still, we're thinking in terms of physics. We're thinking time is still going by, but there's no measurable difference in whatever it is that we're measuring. Maybe it's rainfall. Maybe it's a jump. Okay. A ball flying through the air, something like that. Okay. Flip that upside down. That is going to be your vertical line, which has no definable slope. Okay, because time cannot stand still while you are still measuring stuff. So,
How do you know?
because physics. So, Have I done physics? I do physics every day. So do you. Okay. So let's look down at these examples. Okay. So you're going to have to harken back to your figuring out slope. Okay. Make sure you have your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay. Just kind of in the back of your mind. Okay. So if we look at number one, okay, we have, yes, Rocco.
Zero on number 5 undefined.
It is undefined because if we change 0 to a fraction, it'd be 0 over 1. Okay. If we flip that 1 over 0, you cannot have 0 in the denominator, so it does not exist. It's undefined. Okay. Soren.
I go to the restroom.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so on number one, okay, you are to determine if the lines AB and CD are parallel. Okay, so
Can you back over to the question?
you have them right in front of you.
What is something in
Okay, so question already. Yes, Spencer.
Okay, so what if someone on a graph plotted kind of different?
I cannot speak to other dimensions or universes' laws of physics. I can only speak to mine. Okay,
No, but like, what if they counted like seconds in different increments?
it's still the same thing.
It'd be really confusing.
It would be.
That's
That's why we don't. So, number one, you need to find the slope of lines AB and the slope of line CD to determine if they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay? So, if we are looking for the slope of AB, okay, we're going to have, I'm going to make A's my 1s, B's my 2s. So that should be 6 minus 3 over 2 minus a negative 2. I'm just using the slope formula. So we're using point A and point B. Okay, so hopefully we work it out. We get the slope of AB as 3 over 4. Okay, see if you can get the slope of CD on your own.
No.
Yes. Just do, once you finish number one, you can move on to number two. Don't go past that one. Okay, so once you get the measure of both, you're looking for, they are either the same, which means they are parallel, okay? They are opposite reciprocals, which means they would be perpendicular, or third option, they are neither, okay? They are not the same. They are also not opposite reciprocals of each other. So, what, Rocco? Yeah, so if they're both 3/4, then it's parallel. I was not saying it was none. I think we weren't listening. So I was saying you have three options. They're either parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, this first one is parallel.
negative, it's, how far is away from 0?
Okay, make sure you're working on number 2.
So are we allowed to do number 3?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to do number 3?
Yeah, you said
I mean,
stop
I'm not
at
going to
the-
throw you in jail.
Why'd you say stop?
Would you prefer it if we didn't do 3?
I would prefer for you to. You can do 3. Don't do 4 though, because we are going to skip 4.
I can go.
Wow, we are. Are you in the famous?
Oh, wait, we throw that one.
Three over negative.
Wait,
I can't.
that's
talk.
well, yeah, that is a big word.
Are you in the?
That's
What type of wine?
No.
Mr. Bennett, would you rather be in famous? I got one of those.
Famous, obviously.
Why not in famous?
Would you rather be Martin Luther King Jr. or Hitler? Okay.
It's pronounced.
That's a funny joke.
It's pronounced in the Actually, Mr. Bennett, I would rather be Hitler because I can stop all the terrible things he did.
So you're saying you would rather be in Hitler's body but not be Hitler?
Correct. Because I can stop all
Seems like a different question, Franklin.
Yeah.
In that instance, I would rather be Hitler
Whoa.
because you could stop everything. If you finish 2, you can.
We're not doing it. We like it.
Bro, stop.
Bro, you feel the name while you're saying that?
This is the right. Now.
Where? Me too, yeah. Why?
You can do it. I'm just not going to do it.
Okay, yeah, we
On number 2, because -5/2 is the opposite reciprocal of 2/5. And so if we were graphing these lines, which we will do eventually, if we were graphing them, 2/5 would be like right here. -5/2 would be right here. They'd be perfectly perpendicular.
I'm gonna say none for this one. It's incredibly off. That'll get me.
Right?
Hell,
Yo, mucho.
Yo, mucho is Martha.
El Bozo.